Good morning. Uh, Hello, students. I hope you will be joining soon. Mary, as I um, invited you in the session, hopefully you will be joining soon, inviting the students. Well, I'll start my session as we are here for uh, data communications in class element Resit as well as the assignment which you will be submitting through iLearn link. Well, if I say the submission date for in-class element is um, set here on 13th April, and then the assessment which you will be uploading through iLearn on 20th April. For your information, you will be presenting in class element um, where the tutor will be there in your presentation session, but you need to submit your presentation, what you are going to produce, that is through iLearn, the assigned link. So in that way you will definitely submit by the deadline. See, if I come to tell about the in-class element Resit, in there you are going to produce 1000 words presentation where you will be presenting by 10 minutes presentation. So you have like one small scenario. So if I come across the scenario, it says that a new primary school is being built to replace outdated buildings that are beyond economic repair. The school consists of a single building laid out in a square with an open quadrangle courtyard in the middle. So it means you have a square shape school where you will be mainly proposing the network design for that organization. As it says like a quadrangle, it means in the middle is like one space which is like a square size with 4 sides. Well, in here it says one side consists of the main reception and school office, the head teacher's office, a large assembly hall that is also used as the dining hall for school lunch and for indoor PE lessons, plus toilet facilities for staff and visitors. There is also a staff common room and kitchen in this wing of the building. There is an IT room in one corner of the building, which is to house servers, switches, routers, and other infrastructure in an air-conditioned room with dedicated power supply, etc. Basic IT support is provided by one of the teachers who has some training in this area, with additional help from the local education department's IT department. The remaining 3 sides of the building house various classrooms, children's toilets, stores, and specialist facilities. So there will be 2 specialist computer rooms which will have 15 computers each, plus a suitable range of peripherals such as printers. These two rooms will be timetabled for classes to go there to do relevant work using the computers. All other classrooms will have a single computer at the front, which is connected to an interactive whiteboard and is used in place of the traditional chalkboard for class teaching. The school will also have a set of 15 Android tablets that can be booked out by any teacher for use in any classroom. The school office, the head teacher's office, and the staff common room will each have computers which are available for staff use for lesson preparation, recording of pupil information and progress, and the administration of the school. As this is a new building, there are suitable service ducts between sections of the building, and all the ceilings are suspended, allowing for all wiring to be concealed and secured. You are to design an appropriate local area network infrastructure for this building. You may make assumptions about what is required, but these assumptions must be appropriate to the scenario given and must be stated. You must, as a minimum, include a switch, wired workstations, at least one server, an internet connection, and a wireless access point in your design. This assignment is split into tasks detailed below that cover the required aspects of the design. Not all aspects of the network design are asked for in order to keep the assignment to an appropriate size. Only cover the things that are asked for. Well, based on the scenario, what basically you are going to prepare here is a presentation for 10 minutes producing 1000 words equivalent. So in here it says prepare a suitable set of material to give a presentation to the organization about your network design. Right. So what it says, using a suitable presentation software package like PowerPoint, or who got advanced knowledge of using Prezi, so you can use Prezi as well. So in there, what you have to do, you have to prepare a set of slides. So when it says slides, definitely you have a cover slide, which is a title slide. So in the title slide, you can just give the name of the presentation based on the scenario as a topic, and then your module name, data communications with the code, module code, and then your student number and the submission date, and you produce the word and include in the word count. So and then in the second slide you will be just adding all in the outlines heading, so what points you are going to focus based on your network design. So in that way the subsequent slides you will be producing. So in there you will just discuss where it says like your network design to the organization, where you will include explanations of the overall design, including a discussion of your logical network diagram, the key devices within your design, where it says key devices. In there it says at least a switch, a router, a server, a wireless access point. So those are the main devices you need to include. And it says here internet connection, so you need to be aware about this. And wired workstations, so your PCs, tablets, whatever in there specified. So based on the scenario, you must produce your network design and explain accordingly. So the cabling and Wi-Fi requirements are also important with the key devices in your design you are including. So this should be a practical discussion. So when you are presenting, is all about like how you designed based on the scenario. So these all you will be explaining, the equipment, what basically you are going to include when you are designing the network, why you are considering those devices, router, server. So you need to discuss this all, and how you will be installing those devices, the equipments what are related. So you must explain these all step by step. So what basically you designed in your logical network diagram. So as in here it says in task 2, you will be delivering a 10-minute presentation to the organization explaining your network design, with what 50 marks. So this 50% basically is for in-class element, and so altogether task 1 and task 2 was 100%. At the end, the overall in-class element was 20% of your whole assignment. So I hope if you go through all the main lessons like lesson 1, 2, 3 from your island, mostly you'll be covering in there about network benefits. So why networking is important in the organization. So in here you will definitely focus on the scenario, as it says you are going to design the network for a primary school. So according to the scenario, what basically it says, you must produce accordingly. So I will say just go through your all the lessons in island, and from there when you develop your concept, so definitely you will understand and about the benefit of network design in the organization, where your organization is a primary school in here. So you must always give the importance producing the network design for the scenario and discuss accordingly. So I hope it will help you when you go through this all. So good luck for this. So if I come to the next element, which you are going to submit through iLearn link, that means the link provided in assessment section. So in there you are submitting that assessment receipt by the deadline is 20th April. So, and in there definitely it says like by 2 o'clock, it means in the afternoon. So you need to be very aware about this, as it is UK time by 2 o'clock. So it's like a UK time as daytime, right? In here you will be producing 4,000 words maximum, while it says 4,000 plus 10%. So when it says maximum 4,000 plus 10%, it means you cannot exceed more than 4,400. So So you need to be very careful about this, as if you exceed this word limit, you'll be penalized. That means you'll get the reduced grade. So that means you need to be very careful about the word count, following the word count policy. And you must not include your name in any page. So only you need to include your student number. So that means as it says, like the marker who is going to mark, so the marker will not identify you as with the name, with the student number will be identified, right? So this assignment task is worth 80% of the total marks for the module. So it's the same scenario what you presented in your in-class element. So based on that scenario, you will be producing here. The first task is benefits of networking, where you will be producing 640 words, and it was 16 marks. So it says write a brief report for the head teacher explaining how a school-wide network would benefit the school. This must be clearly focused on things that are relevant to a primary school and not just be a generic list of the benefits of networking. So in here you must focus on the scenario, not like telling about the general benefits of network design. So why you are considering this network design for that particular organization, means the primary school. So in which way the primary school staffs, students, who else working for that school, they will be benefited through the internet and the network. So where you are going to design mostly is about like a first floor, second floor could be. So in that way, based on the scenario, you just explain the benefit of network for the school based on the scenario. So that is what you need to produce. And if we come to task 2, in there it says network design diagram plus 1200 words, so which was 30 marks. So in there, the network you designed in your presentation, so that is basically here you are going to include, and I hope you can improve in some point. So what I will say in here, according to task, it says design an appropriate local area network infrastructure for the school. So you must, as a minimum, include a switch and a wireless access point in your design. So in the scenario it is clearly instructed you. So you must add a switch and a wireless access point. Right. So when you are producing this, in there it says provide logical network diagrams showing how the school might provide the required services and connections. This may be one or more diagrams as you see fit. So it means the network diagram what you are going to propose to the school as to provide the required services and connections. So you can split the diagram into different parts. So where it says any suitable drawing package can be used. So I hope you will be using draw.io, that software where you can go through certain link to draw that network diagram, and you will not be graded on the drawings themselves, just the network design. So it means mainly you need to focus on the network design based on the scenario. So what else in the scenario asked for, you just focus on that. So that is what you need to fulfill, not more than that, but you can use assumptions, is up to you. But so mainly you will focus on the scenario, whatever in their requirements. You need to fulfill those requirements. Okay, task 2b, you outline the cabling requirements for your design. So what sort of cabling you are going to propose, so you just outline those cabling. I hope you have idea about like twisted cable, fiber optic cable. So which one basically you prefer to propose to the organization. The information you gathered through the lessons from Island, so you definitely got confident in proposing the right cabling requirements. So you will obviously need to draw a basic plan of the school for the physical layout designed to determine the cabling requirements as you got the scenario. So in there, based on the services, whatever in the scenario as provided, so you will just definitely draw that basic plan, and then from there you can give the layout of what sort of design you need for cabling requirements. So identify and justify the types of cable used. So what sort of cables you are using, so in there you just identify that specific cable, and you must justify why you are going to propose that specific cable to the organization. So provide rough costs based on referenced supplier information found by searching the internet. So you will just provide the rough costs, what basically you propose to the organization to use. In there it says, since the school is in the UK, so as the school is in the UK, so the supplier and price must be UK based. So when you are researching the cable through internet, so definitely you need to provide the price and in pound, and of course the organization or the company what you are basically proposing as a supplier, it needs to be UK based. So in that means all the information in here you will include as UK based. So, task 2C, explain each infrastructure device, what its function is, why you have selected that device for the job. This explanation must focus on the school and its requirements. So in the network design for the school, what sort of infrastructure device you proposed, say switch, server, workstations, router, cabling. So you must explain their functions, okay, and why you have selected, and you must focus based on the school and its requirements. So task 2D, identify and justify two specific products that could be used for each infrastructure device, including the exact make and model along with the supplier and price. Since the school is in the UK, the supplier and price must be UK based. So again, when you are identifying the products, specific products, you must justify why you are proposing those products for each infrastructure device. So you must identify, and as it says again, the supplier needs to be UK based, and the price, of course, it needs to be in pound. So you need to always focus and work out your task, whatever in the question asked for. Right. Task 3B, IPv4. So Internet Protocol version 4 addressing. So in here it says you need to produce 400 words, and it was 10 marks. So here it says that for the network you designed in task 2, so whatever the network you designed in task 2, based on that you need to devise appropriate IPv4 address allocations and explain how these will be implemented. So in here you will be devising IPv4. So I hope you got the concept on IPv4 from the designated lesson through ILR. So based on your concept what you developed, so you will just devise appropriate IPv4 address allocations for the network you designed for the school based on the scenario here given. And here you need to explain how these will be implemented. So when you designed, that means devised those IPv4, so how you will be implementing, you need to explain those. So in some point you will get the concept of a class A, class B, class C type IPv4, where it says like a 32 bits, and for that means it will be separated into 4 sections with 8 bits using the dot. So the concept what you developed, in that way you will devise those IPv4 address allocations. So in here you need to include both static and dynamic addresses in your scheme. So when it says static, so it's fixed size. When it says dynamic, so it changes automatically. So when you get your internet connection, say from the service provider, they automatically assign the IP address based on your use. So download and upload speed. So in that sense, they will be providing you certain IP addresses as static, and mainly they do provide us dynamic. So from there you can devise as a static address. Well, in here you need to cover the 2 main parts in task 3 as A and B. So in A, you task is you need to cover actual addresses and address ranges used, and with justification. So why you devised those addresses, and then you need to justify as well. And in task 3B, it says you need to cover methods used by different devices to acquire their address with justification. So what the addresses you devised, what methods you used. So hopefully in some point you understood about using packet tracer. So through the packet tracer you devised mostly the IP addresses. So you need to justify those addresses, why you are using those addresses for different devices. Right. Task 4, it says you need to produce the task for network services, where the words you need to produce as 680 words, and it's worth 17 marks. So in here it says every network depends on the services provided to make it useful. These include obvious foreground user services such as email and less well-known background devices such as the domain name service. Identify an appropriate set of services, both foreground and background, for the school to run on their network. For each service, clearly explain why it is necessary and how it helps the school either in running their network, background services, or educating the children, foreground services. So the foreground service where it says as email you are using, so you need to identify the appropriate foreground and background services for the school, and you need to explain for each service why it is necessary and how it helps the school either in running their network or educating the children. So when you say running the network, definitely it's all about the background services like FTP, file transfer protocol, then server, firewall, so those sort of services. And in the foreground, say email, how the email service works, you need to explain this, why it is necessary. So I'll say if you just go through the lesson from Ireland, so definitely in some point the concept what you developed, based on the concept you can produce this task. Now task 5, network monitoring. You need to produce 400 words, is worth 10 marks. You need to identify one specific network monitoring tool that the school could use to ensure that their network continues to perform correctly. You should identify the type of tool, a specific product, including manufacturer, product and exact version of model number as appropriate, including supplier and price. This should be appropriate to the size of the organization and their network. So based on the network design, what the devices you used, so how the network will be monitored. So you need to identify one specific network monitoring tool. So I hope you can use certain websites and researching that, definitely in some point you will get a certain monitoring tool. As it says like your product needs to be UK based, so in that means the price, version, manufacturer, so everything needs to be UK based when you are producing. So as you are identifying the type of tool and product, so you need to focus on the scenario given and then produce this task. For the tool you have identified, explain what it does and how the information it supplies can be used by the school. So I hope if you go through the scenario from there, you will just find the right tool where it will help to secure the network, the information, the employees, students' credentials as intranet based. So the concept what you are having from the iLearn lessons, in that way I hope you can produce this. Task 6, the security. You need to produce 680 words where it will worth 17 marks. In here it says, as with any computer system, security is an issue with a new network. Identify 3 possible security issues that the school will face with their new network and outline how they can provide appropriate levels of protection. So security, which is the very important part in any organization which is network based, so in there you need to identify 3 possible security issues. So I hope you can think about like information leaking, identity theft, data loss. So in that way, so those issues you need to consider based on the organization where it says in here for the school. So as the school will be facing these sort of issues when the new network is introduced, so you need to outline how they can provide appropriate levels of protection. So how the school, the organization will be protecting the information, whatever in the server, the employees, the students, they stored, or they are always handling the sensitive information. So based on the security, how the school will safeguard this information. So in that means you need to outline using the appropriate level of protection. Well, I will say if you go through all 10 lessons from the iLearn, and when you are confident, so researching or even more than the iLearn lessons, I hope you can produce these tasks based on the scenario. So good luck. If still you have any sort of question, you can just email me. So I can say this. Hopefully it will help. So good luck.